How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and T-Mobile is really picking up quite the awesome Android handsets. They've been doing this for some time, but they have two killer ones in the lineup right now. One of those is the HTC Amaze, which apparently is in camera mode. The HTC Amaze 4G, available now for $259.99, and it's a feature-packed device. It has a dual-core Snapdragon 1.5 gigahertz processor, a 4.3-inch QHD display, an 8-megapixel camera, which HTC says is one of the best cameras, if not the best camera, on any smartphone. Front-facing camera, Android 2.3, Sense 3.0, and more, but it breaks that $199 price point and shoots up to $260 with a 2-year agreement. Is this the one to get on T-Mobile, or should you go with maybe the Galaxy S2 or the MyTouch 4G Slide or something else? We'll find out that and more in the full review, but first, special thanks to my boys at Best Buy because they hook us up with awesome phones just like this and the Galaxy S2 for use. I like how I pointed at it like you know that it's over here in the bookcase. For use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, they're unbiased. Whether it's T-Mobile, Sprint, AT&T, or Verizon, they're going to hook you up with whatever is best for you. They're not going to sell you or pitch you on anything. It's unbiased shopping at Best Buy Mobile. Enough of that, let's get into it. Full review. Part 2 of the video, let's take a look at camera real quick because I want to show you the 8-megapixel camera, and it's interesting on this device because T-Mobile and HTC, are actually more HTC, but I guess kind of T-Mobile too, touts this as one of the best cameras, if not the best camera, on any smartphone. Even better than the MyTouch 4G Slide, which they previously mentioned as the best camera on any smartphone. Now, it does have a lot of features. You know, the zoom has worked really well. I used this in San Diego, and I did get some great pictures, and I'll show you one that I took in this review, which I actually shot on Friday and accidentally deleted the footage, so I'm reshooting for fun, so for funsies. So you can see there, here's the text I took for the first take of the video, and you can see, text very clear to read, and you can actually see the inkjet dots. That's how close you can get. I'll bring it in so you can take a look at it and try to wait for it to focus. So you can see the inkjet dots. Really impressive picture quality all across the board. I haven't had any problems with this device, but you have the camera button, and you can half press to focus in, full press to take a picture, and you can hear it focus in. And then when you're ready to go, you snap that picture, and it's a quick shutter, as you can see. And then we can go over here and take a look at one of our pictures, and you can see, even zoomed in, you can see the texture around the camera. You can see clearly 8.0 megapixels, or mega I should say, and you can see Galaxy S2 incredibly clear. It's a fantastic camera. This is by far the best camera that I've worked with on any Android device. Now, what's going to be interesting is pitting this up when we do the dogfight with this versus the iPhone 4S, which also has an 8-megapixel camera that's been substantially improved over a previous build. So it'll be interesting to put those two together, but so far on an Android device, this is the best camera I've worked with. Fantastic shots. Been very pleased with them, and I can show you some great pictures. Let me zoom out, or let me pull it away so I can take a look here up close, show you some of the pictures I shot. Here's some. You can see gas lamp area in San Diego. So just absolutely beautiful shots, and I've been really impressed with it. Let's take a look at quadrant standard and speed test because it's one of those things, Snapdragon processors historically don't do well in quadrant standard, and it's important to note quadrant standard is nothing more than a benchmark that I do for these videos so you guys can get an idea. I mean, in day-to-day performance, I can't tell a difference between this and the Galaxy S2 devices or anything else that supposedly scores higher than the Amaze 4G, but still, it's always fun to kind of do these. Let's talk a little bit about call quality while it's loading up. Now, call quality's been decent. The earpiece has been nice and loud, and I've criticized HTC in the past for having less, or subpar, if you will, wireless radios in their devices. This one's been pretty decent. I see some flipping between 2G and 4G. If you watch part 1 of the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I haven't had any problems with wireless radios. I haven't had any call drops or any sort of issues like that. I took it to T-Mobile Dead Spot in North Charlotte, and the call maintained. It was a little bit choppy, but even with 0 bars, it maintained itself. So let's take a look at quadrant standard scores, and it's sending the results now. I'll go ahead and get it focused in so you can take a look. And service call failed. Let's do it again. We'll do it again, that's okay. We'll run the full benchmark, and now I can talk about battery life anyway. Battery life, it has a 1,730 milliamp hour battery, and I'm not really sure why it's not loading. But anyway, it has a 1,730 milliamp hour battery. And all in all, it's not going to be the best in the world. The Evo 3D has a 1,730 milliamp hour battery, and I was struggling to make it through a day. This one, it makes it about 10 to 12 hours, depending on my moderate use throughout the day. I could make it about 10 to 12 hours with some calling, some text messaging, some emailing, browsing the web, downloading apps, things like that. Made it about 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours before it powered off. With light use, you'll make it through the day. Now, one good thing about this device is it does charge relatively quickly, so if you're like me and you live off that 25 minute charge in between meetings, you shouldn't have any problems, doing a quick charge and running to another meeting, or doing a quick charge while you're in the car between point A and point B. It's pretty decent there. But hopefully we can get this to load up this time so you can see what the quadrant standard scores are going to be. Let's get it to load. Come on. Let's get this test over with so you can see what the quadrant standard scores are. But all in all, pretty decent battery life. Not the best in the world. It's not going to win any awards by any means. And the call quality is very good as well. So here we go. Benchmarks. Oh, there we go. 2,381. Let me wait for it to focus in. 2,381. So again, you look at the Galaxy S2 devices, they're right up there at 3,100 to 3,500. This isn't going to beat that, but again, day-to-day performance, I can't tell a difference, and I've been very pleased across the board. I wanted to show you this. This is one of those devices that supports T-Mobile's HSPA Plus 42 megabits per second service, so 4G, and it supports it all the way up to 42 megabits per second. Now, are you going to see those speeds? Absolutely not. You're going to see speeds ranging between, if you're in a 42 megabits per second coverage area, you're going to see speeds probably ranging between 5 to 12 megabits per second. You can see I'm seeing like 5.23, and these are a combination of San Diego tests and Charlotte tests, but you can see 5.23 megabits per second, 10 here, almost 12 here, 11.5 here. So decent, definitely decent speeds considering, a lot of people consider HSPA Plus as kind of 3.5G. And I'm kind of curious to do this speed test because you can see it's fluctuating between 4G and 2G. I'm in an office building and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you get the idea. We'll go ahead and run a speed test so you can take a look and get an idea for yourself. I don't know why the coverage is rotating around, but still very decent speeds. And we'll wait for it to load up. And yeah, we're not going to waste the time doing this because it keeps flipping between 2G and 4G. So keep that in mind in the review. Negative, negative, negative. T-Mobile and HTC keeps flipping between 2G and 4G. That just gets on my nerves when it does stuff like that. But I haven't really experienced that throughout the review. So I can't really say that it's a problem, but it's doing it right now. This phone's been in the office building several times. Haven't had a problem rotating between 2G and 4G. So, oh well, what can I say? Let's take a look at market and wait for it to load up because I want to show you, and of course it's on Edge right now. So it's going to have some issues loading up. But anyway, the market's been revamped. It looks much better. So if you're coming from something like iOS, or you're coming from Windows Phone 7, and you're coming to Android for the first time, or you're coming back to Android for the first time in a couple of years, it's going to be a different looking market. And you can see here it's loading up, and it's going to take 47 years to load up. But you get the idea. Apps, games, books, and movies are all in one place now, so you can download or rent movies, you can buy books, you can buy games and apps all in one convenient place. Now we'll go into apps and take a look here. And wait for it to load up. And you can see, again, doing portrait or in landscape mode as well. So it's got this black kind of interface here, and you can see that the shopping bag here is color-coded. So for books, it would be blue. For movies, it would be red. For apps and games, it's green. So that gives you an idea of what it looks like. And that is just ungodly slow. Hang on one second. I'm going to turn on... oh, nope, 4G decided to come back. So let's see if we can get it to load a little faster now. Let's get these apps to start up and wait for it to load. I was going to turn on Wi-Fi. I hate doing that as a last resort, but hey, you know what? It gives us time to cover more stuff in the video. So you can see here, they kind of have this Metro UI look, and I say this on the Android videos, but just the way it looks with, rectangles here, kind of a square here, and a bigger rectangle, and it draws your eyes to each individual one as opposed to, just being a bunch of rectangles. You kind of scan down through it pretty quickly. So here are your applications, and you can scroll from left to right to see top paid, top free, featured applications, etc. And you can see, for example, we'll go into beautiful widgets here. You have the option to share, have the option to search. You can see the price, and then you can see screenshots here, the description, the star ratings, what's new, videos, reviews, and then of course more by the same studio that created beautiful widgets, what the other users viewed, developer, and market content. It's just a really clean, well-organized market, and something that can definitely compete in this ever increasing battle between iOS and Android. It's an app store that can compete with the App Store, which is Apple's solution. So you can see it looks nice, and you can use it in portrait or in landscape. It's quick and easy, and it seems to be very responsive. So I've been pretty impressed with the Android market, but that is that. Let's take a look at widgets as well, because I didn't cover these in part one, and I want to show you what HTC's, and I kind of am jumping across the board, but I want to show you what HTC's widgets look like. Now, HTC bundles custom widgets as part of HTC Sense, but you can see here in the case of Calendar, for example, you have an HTC widget and you have an Android widget. Now, the Android one, pretty plain Jane. You can see it's going to load it right there on the screen. Pretty boring. I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Now, the HTC one gives you a couple of different options. When you click on Calendar, for example, you can see it shows calendar, and it says 1 of 3. Now, it shows the month calendar, it shows the agenda calendar, and it shows the small one as well. Now the downside is, you look at TouchWiz, you look at Motorola's user interface, a lot of them allow, a lot of their widgets at least are customizable. You can change the size. So if you're in an area with a particularly small space, you can customize the widget to make it fit. You can't do that here. I mean, you do have some different size options, but you can't customize the actual size itself outside of this, or this. So you can do the small one, but if you're in a really small area, let's say half the screen, you know, maybe that much, it's not going to fit. So kudos to HTC for having some beautifully designed widgets, but I would love to see the ability in future Sense releases to customize those widgets, you know, on my 7 home screen. So I could fit maybe, you know, let me go back over here, fit 2 or 3 widgets in here that are kind of portrait-oriented widgets, as opposed to having one long widget like the calendar one and being forced to be done with it because I don't have enough space. So that's a big thing I would like to see in future versions. Now let's scroll down through here because I want to show you one other thing. And let me scroll down through here. Where is it? Well, I'll show you actually. I do want to show you this because especially with these Android user interfaces, ton of different options when it comes to contacts and when it comes to the actual dialer itself. So I want to show you this. You can see the dialer here. You have island keys, and it looks a lot different when you compare this to something like TouchWiz 4.0 or Motorola's UI. Even though they're running the exact same build of Android 2.3 in a lot of cases, they look very different. Now this is something I don't like how it groups. You can see I called Billy Bob on the 14th. And we called and we talked for a little bit. And then you can see that Billy Bob's here as a contact, and you have all your other contacts. I don't like how it groups everything into one like that. It's a little frustrating to see all those together. And when you go into Billy Bob here, we'll go into the contacts so you can take a look. This is something I do like. HTC does a fantastic job with organization when it comes to the actual contact. You can see here, call home, send message. I've got my notes. I can edit, make customized ringtones. I can block the caller. But then I can go down here and say, when did I last text message Billy Bob? I can see our history of conversations there. Our mail, when I last emailed him, updates and events, gallery, and call history. So I can say, okay, we talked to each other quite a bit in the past couple of days. And it's all organized in this little easy toggle just to rotate back and forth on the, or in the contacts menu. So really nice, really organized, so I can say, you know, when did I message my friend Steve, for example, and I can see all that stuff. And then I can go to mail and say, well, we sent 5 emails over the past 7 days. I can go to each one of those and compose new emails. So pretty cool. I don't like the fact that you can't integrate, at least I haven't found a way yet to integrate Gmail into this mail interface. It's got to be, you know, POP3 based solution or IMAP based solution, but still very, very organized on that front. Now, is this a device for you? I think so. You know, honestly, between the two, it'd be a tough call, and you're gonna have to wait for the dogfight to see which one I recommend over the other between this and the Galaxy S2, but it's a little bit more expensive. It's $259.99, but you get a phenomenal build quality here. You get a beautiful display that, while it is a little bit smaller, it's 4.3 inches, and I can't believe in today's world I have to say 4.3 inches is a little bit smaller. But beautiful build, really feels great in the hand, and it's a high quality handset that really looks good. This is going to be one of those devices you get and people are going to be like, what phone is that? Versus maybe a Galaxy S2 where it's like, well, there are Galaxy S2s on other carriers. They all look mostly the same. I think this one stands out a little bit more. You're paying a little bit more for it, but the build quality is fantastic. It's very fast. I've had no lags whatsoever, and I would recommend this handset to anybody that's looking for a high-end Android device, minus the fact that it's kind of frustrating to keep switching between 4G and 2G. But hey, that's a local area thing. You know, what else is new in the Charlotte metro area?Ch more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with the HTC Amaze 4G, so keep it locked on the site, PhoneDog.com. Bam! Wait, that's web2go.com. That's not PhoneDog.com. But you get the idea. PhoneDog.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook. Facebook.com/PhoneDog. We're always giving away stuff, and we're pretty cool. So be sure to like us. Facebook.com/PhoneDog. And as always, follow me on Twitter. Let me know what you think about this device. PhoneDog_Aaron. You're thinking about buying one, or if you already bought one, I'd love to hear your thoughts. PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time.